can cut away from them.
The duck plays better than we do.
Yeah, it's opening day, and by the way, it's an exciting day for America. It's America's pastime, #1. We're going to go out there in a little while, and Bernie Williams is going to be here. Not only is he a better baseball player than us, he's also a better musician.
Yes, he is. He's both, isn't he?
He's unbelievable.
He is.
Look what came out. Look what just came out. That's why Geraldo's sitting on the curvy couch with us. We're going to get to the book in just a minute and find out all about it. But first, let's talk about some news of the day. Right. Inspector General is now going to investigate FISA abuses, Geraldo. Is it about time?
Well, I think, first of all, the Inspector General has been getting a short shrift in terms of his potency. A lot of Republicans complaining that why have the Department of Justice Inspector General, why not have a second special counsel? Another Mueller, only this one looking into the abuses that led to the issuance of the FISA warrant that led to the wiretaps of Carter Page that really led to all of the Russia collusion.
And the lack of investigation on Hillary Clinton.
And the lack of the email investigation, how it petered out. I disagree. I think that Horowitz is a great choice. The Inspector General has so far done a good job. It takes a while, but I believe there is, if necessary, a grand jury in the future. And I think that they will do absolutely a thorough and reasonable job in uncovering this very irregular, almost self-fulfilling FISA application. How do you get a FISA application? You create or you pay for a dossier of unsubstantiated allegations. Right. You pay for it, and then you present it to to the FISA court, and then you get your FISA warrant, and it starts the wiretapping. That, remember how crazy people thought President Trump was when he was saying the Trump Tower was being wiretapped in this first month of his administration? And guess what? Sometimes crazy stuff is
John
correct.
Brennan calling Harry Reid to get a story out that was happening in August that talked about Trump's alleged links to Russia. But this is what bothers me. I don't want to use the whole segment. The FISA court, fundamentally, for it to work, you need integrity. Ethics and integrity, because there's no defense attorney. What I give to you, if you're the judge, Geraldo, has to be 100% authenticated, because the judge is trusting your integrity. If that integrity is not there, the process falls apart and abuses flare up. We're about to find out if there's been a widespread abuse, not just in this, but everything.
But look how your final sentence rings. We are about to find out. We do find out. We will find out. You can't hide these things. They don't remain invisible forever.
If it wasn't for President Trump, there wouldn't be.
Now it's taken some time, and the Republicans in Congress have been raising the stink. Now it's being revealed that this noble, this monument to fairness and the integrity of our national security system, the FISA courts, it's not that they did anything wrong. It's that the information they were given was polluted by politics. And I think that this will end up in a very interesting place. I think that you may indeed find a kind of collusion that nobody ever expected. Yeah. Trump walks, and the DNC and some of the others get stung by their own corruption.
All right, let's talk about Amazon, because Jeff Bezos, who is the founder of Amazon, there is talk that he could get this big defense contract, that company could, to do a government kind of iCloud thing, the Jedi Cloud.
For the Defense Department.
For the Defense Department. It's worth $10 billion. And so you've got the president of Less Government, Seton Motley. We interviewed him earlier. He put out an ad in the New York Post yesterday saying this shouldn't happen. You're giving all this money to one individual who doesn't like the president, who's made that clear. And you're going to give him a contract for $10 billion so that he can go and use that money against you in the next election. So the president tweeted about it this morning, and his tweet says, "I have stated my concerns with Amazon long before the election. Unlike others, they pay little or no taxes to state and local governments, use our postal system as their delivery boy, causing tremendous loss to the U.S., and are putting many thousands of retailers out of business."
When I had dinner with the president, he said exactly that. I mean, in more informal terms, just asking to those of us gathered around, is it fair that the brick and mortar retailer in the small hometown pays the sales tax, and Amazon comes in and mails something to the consumer who would otherwise be shopping at that store? It gets delivered right to their house, and no sales tax is paid. So if there's a pothole on the road, Amazon's not contributing to the maintenance of it. There is a fundamental unfairness, and I think rather than focusing on what contract Amazon may or may not have gotten, I think the fundamental issue, and the one that the president highlighted with this tweet this morning, is that these online retailers don't pay sales tax, generally speaking. They do in spotted jurisdictions. But how fair is that? And won't that lead to the deterioration of the mom and pop shop downtown in the central city.
You know what hit home? Toys R Us. Every parent remembers walking through toy. Whether you get a toy or not, you walk through there like it's a zoo, or you buy something, you have memories. Toys R Us says we can't compete with Amazon, and you wonder where does this stop?
Well, look at me. I'm wearing boots now. They're all worn out. I'm doing my publicity tour, and I got my old shoes. I want to go to a shoe store. My wife says, go to a shoe store, just order it. They'll deliver it the next day, the day after. So where's the shoe store? I don't even know where the shoe store is. The shoe store is you call
It's with
Amazon.
the blacksmith.
Yeah, that's right.
We don't even know where a shoe store is. By the way, when you go to a shoe store, they used to put your foot up there. Now they just go in the back, get a size 9, and come put it on yourself.
Remember that silver cold thing you had to put your bare foot down
shoehorn.
They're going to do it to bars now. No, there'll be no more bars. They're going to
You know what, though? Don't
mail
you
your drink right to your house.
Why go to a bar? You can drink alone.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't you think, though, that we've gotten...
a little baggie.
Why is that? Is it because we've gotten too busy to even have time to shop? We only have time to do something online
too easy.
quickly?
Yeah, yes, of course, that's true, Ainsley. But the fact of the matter is, it is, I mean, I hate to say it to the mom and pop retailers out there, it's just a more efficient way to do business.
Faster.
You know,
Easier.
in my house, I mean, now I live in Shaker in the suburbs, I every morning, there's like a caravan of FedEx and UPS and U.S. Mail. They're even delivering things like the drinking water. I mean, bottled water and a Gatorade that you don't want to schlep from the store. It's a new world, but the president is right. It is an untapped. You don't want to. He roiled the market with his anti-Amazon comments. Amazon went down 100 points. Investors like me don't like when politicians mess.
Apple went after Facebook. They're all going after each other now.
But I lament the fact that it affects their performance on the stock market, and wealth gets transferred, and people with 401ks and so forth get hurt. I just want people to be quiet, but I think that the principle that online retailers should pay sales tax is very important.
All right, so if anyone has the ability to write a memoir, it's you. And you're here delivering your brand new book.
He's done one before, but this is of now, right?
This is yours, Major Pete.
Thank you very much.
Look at this. Pete, you're in this picture, too. This was us at the election.
I think that's the
Democratic
This
National.
is war correspondent Geraldo Rivera at Fox, right? Is that what this is about?
This is about the original book, Brian, was about how Roger Ailes hired me to go to war. Why? Because I was at CNBC, the highest rated show on that network, when the attacks happened at 9/11. I urged my bosses at NBC to send me to war. I was so angry. There were 6 dads in my kids' grade school who were killed on 9/11. This was very personal to a lot of us in New York. Middletown, New Jersey, where I was living at the time, highest per capita casualty rate from the 9/11 attacks. NBC would not let me leave my plum job because it was so important to the network, so I quit. I gave up a huge salary, and I came to Roger Ailes. I said, send me to war. I came to work here on a Friday. The next Monday, I was in Pakistan heading to the Khyber Pass and Afghanistan. And this tells the story of my obsessive pursuit of Osama bin Laden. Remember, I was on the air when he finally was killed by Rob O'Neill and the SEAL Team 6. So I tell the arc of that story. But in the context of it, and as I was writing it, everything blew up, so to speak, here at Fox and in American society with the sex harassment allegations, and we were roiled as a network, you know, and I tell that story, and I tell of the coming of the age of Trump, and how difficult it is for someone like me, generally a progressive person, who is dear friends with the president. At least I consider myself a dear friend of the president, whose policies I sometimes oppose, and how the president has divided many American families. Like Erica really doesn't like him, my beautiful wife, because of his policies about immigration and Muslims and Mexicans and so forth. I tend to try my best to find a silver lining in everything the president does, or most of what he does. I try to counsel him to be more moderate in his policies. I want him to be a great president. I think he has that ability, but I think that stress, that tug of war within many American families, and Roseanne, the show, really illustrated that could have been my home in terms of one's for the president, the other's against. I think that we'll work it out. I think the president does have the potential to be great, but I tell that story of how the president's policies have divided many American families, including my own.
Right, and we do discuss that. But in this too, do you mention us at all? That's the key. I saw a picture of Ainsley.
There are several pictures of Ainsley. I had one tiny one of you in the corner.
There's a little one right here.
You and Pete.
Right.
There's a little one.
Yep.
Major Pete. But Ainsley sells books, Brian, and your presence with.
Okay, then let me live up to my name then. Buy his book.
Right.
Buy his book right
is
now on Amazon or Barnes & Noble.
Thank you.
Or BAM, Books A Million.
But I love that picture on the cover.
Tora Bora, we got there first. We were there alone for the first 3 days of the epic battle. And I talk about how we could have captured Osama bin Laden and ended this whole thing in the first couple of weeks, but we did not.
But I also heard you did great on Howard Stern yesterday, and we'll talk about it on the radio in a little while.
Okay.
All right?
I'll be there.
Geraldo Rivera, a memoir, pre-order it using Amazon, who we derided in the first segment.
He's had quite a life, quite a life. We're very proud of you.
Thank you.
Nicest guy. You might not agree with his politics, but he is the nicest guy.
He's a great man.
He's okay.
Thank you, Pete.
Congratulations, Geraldo.
All right, good job. And by Sean Hannity sponsoring a book party for you Monday.
That's right.
Right.
Big party.
Where is it? Are you inviting everyone? All right.
Okay.
Come on.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Geraldo.
All right.
It is 12 minutes after the top of the hour. Well, the fate of the Pulse terrorist's wife is now in the hands of the jury. This, as we learn that the planned attack was really for Disney.